If only that were true. "You can't blame me more than I blame myself," Mark finally muttered. "But it's done. I dared, he jumped, and here we are. I can't hide from it, and neither can you. I have to say goodbye to my friend, Colby, and I'd like your support." Tears welled in her eyes while she imagined Joe's cocky grin just before he jumped off the cliff above Punchbowl Falls in the Columbia River Gorge. Saying goodbye to him would be hard enough, but walking into that church to face Joe's parents and his brother Alec seemed an impossible task. "My mother's been the Morgans' neighbor for 30 years, and even she feels awkward about coming." Last night at the funeral home, Alec had even kept his closest friend, Colby's brother Hunter, at arm's length, so he surely wouldn't welcome Mark or her today. "I'm going. Wait here if you want." He tugged his arm free and opened the door, letting the cool air rush inside. Colby sighed. She exited the car, squaring her shoulders and lifting her chin. Mark reached for her hand, which she grudgingly offered. Being dragged inside might be the only way she'd cross the threshold. Alec and his family would resent the whole world today, and who could blame them? But she knew that deep down, they resented her husband most. They'd barely stepped into the vestibule when Alec's unerring gaze fell on Mark. Normally, Alec smiled at her, but today, his mouth remained fixed in a grim line, and his eyes mirrored the mossy color of Lake Sandy on a cloudy day. Grief had carved lines into his handsome face, giving more depth to his boyish good looks. His chestnut hair fell lopsidedly across his forehead, thanks to the cowlick he could never quite tame. She wrestled free of Mark's grip when Alec began his approach. Words clogged her throat, making it tough to swallow, much less speak. She opened her arms to greet her old friend with a hug, but he brushed past her and walked straight up to Mark. Alec stood at least 2 inches taller than her husband. His eyes, as intimidating as a wolf's, glared down his finely chiseled nose at Mark. "Leave before my father sees you." His typically mellow voice had an edge today that scraped against her skin like rug burn. "I've apologized to your family." Mark didn't flinch. "You have to forgive me, Alec. You know I love Joe like a brother." "Lucky for me, we're not close." He then spared Colby a brief glance. "Make him go, Colby. He shouldn't be here." When their gazes locked, she noticed a cold, yawning distance that had never before existed. The loss of warmth hit her deep in her chest, choking off what little breath she still had. "I'm sorry. We don't want to cause you more pain." She reached for Mark's arm, but he shrugged her off. "I'll sit in the back of the church and slip out early, but I'm staying. Joe would want me here." "Would he, really?" Alec gritted his teeth. "We wouldn't even be here if it weren't for you." The flicker of heat in Mark's eyes warned he was about to do or say something awful. Before Colby could pull him away, he snarled, "Joe'd want me here over you. If it weren't for what you did, he might not have been so eager to go on that hike, or take that dare." Pain, bitter, brutal anguish arrested Alec's features. She had no idea what Mark had meant, but apparently Alec did. Colby reached out to comfort him, but retreated when he snapped at Mark. "Get out now." Other mourners had started to stare at the two men, despite the fact that, until Alec's outburst, they'd kept their voices low. Colby heard whispers, saw shaking heads. "Mark, let's go." She yanked his arm, forcing him to bend to her will just this once. He ripped free of her grip and stalked to the car. Before he opened its door, he punched the roof and shouted at the sky. By the time she took her seat, Mark's head was in his hands, his shoulders shaking. Sniffling, he repeatedly banged his forehead against the steering wheel while muttering,